Hello YouTubers, Highland Rider here again. My weather app tells me that right now it should be pouring rain, and well, it's not. And the forecast of severe storm was made really, I didn't plan a ride today, and I've been doing DIY and now I've run out of time. But I did promise a video on phones, and so that's what I'm going to do with this particular one. So I've got three phones here. This is an S21. I think it's a XL. It's not the biggest one. The biggest one is the super size. This is the mid-size one. I have a Samsung Note 10. This is my work phone. And this is a Samsung 10 small phone, normal size. So first thing, for some of you, if you've already got one of these bikes, then this is kind of a bit too late. If you're thinking about one of these bikes, this is worth looking at, because if you're thinking about using your phone where it's supposed to be used, in this slot, then you might want to watch this first. I got lucky in that I bought myself a new phone just before I bought the bike, and it fits. But as you're going to see, there are some complications. So I've zoomed in, and you're just going to have to listen to me rather than see my handsome like face. So let's start off with my Samsung Note 10. So it's a fairly common phone, okay, fairly big. But if I try and fit it in its case, that isn't going anywhere. So I can, of course, take it out of its case. So same phone out of its case, fit it in, and that isn't fitting. It is too big. Now my Samsung, my 21, again in a case, doesn't fit. If I take it out of the case, in this case, it does actually just about fit into the slot, and I can then use that phone. So in the case of this slot, size is everything. If you've got an XL phone, so if you've got a Google XL or anything that's big, the big Apple phones, they do not fit. And in the conversation I had with the techie people at BMW, when I pointed this out to them, they seemed to be quite surprised. And I asked them why they didn't get one of their guys to put a phone in this slot. This is the same slot they had on the old RT1250 and the old RT1200. Nobody in BMW, it occurred to none of them to make a slot big enough for an XL phone. So not much you can do about it, but many of us have found that actually having your phone in this slot isn't always the best. It involves every time you want to do something taking the phone out, and if you're paying for gas or you want to take a photograph or a video, you take your phone out and that breaks the connection. So quite a few people, me included, have gone down the route of two phones. So I have this phone here, it's a Samsung S10. To be upfront, I bought another phone. I had my Garmin sat nav, which I sold, and then with the proceeds from that sale I bought this. And I find having two phones being much more useful. It means I can separate all the actions for the phone and the bike from my normal phone. The BMW connected app is a dominant app, so it sits on top of everything else, so that causes problems in its own way. So it's a personal choice. You don't have to do it this way, and I know some people get really irritated the fact that some of us are going down this route, and why don't BMW supply and whatever else, and they're not problems I can solve. But I find two phones to be the most useful. I also find the more up to date, the better. In my conversations with all you guys, the older phones seem to cause more connection problems. More modern the phone, the better it seems to be, but it will still break connection. The next question I've been asked is the sequence that I go through in connecting the phone to the bike. It does take a minute, sometimes 2 minutes, sometimes longer, for the phone and the bike to connect, which is a tad irritating, but it is what it is. But there is a sequence that plenty of owners have adopted, and that is pretty much click the bike, put it on, open the phone app. So you can do this while you are putting your crash helmet on, doing whatever else to do. So connect the app and then just wait and it will connect up. So I do this, put it on, put my helmet on, my plugs in, whatever I'm doing, faffing around, gloves, the whole sorts of thing, and while I'm doing this the thing is connecting up. So I'm not particularly wasting any time. So now actually we've got connection between the phone and the TFT. The next thing's got to connect is the wireless, so I can actually have the map. So I'll give that a little press. And now we are totally connected. So now, having connected everything, the last thing I want to do is break connection. So I'm going to try and show you this. I have it flat on my hand, and then what I do is I just slide it into the slot without touching, press the arrow key, in it clicks, and that is the phone in. And then I do the usual that you would all do, connect the bike, and I'm fully connected. So that's the sequence I go through. If I have my center system as well, that's in my helmet, so by turning it on, having the helmet on, it all connects before I start the bike. It also means that if there is an issue, I can see it before I ride off. But generally, I've got to say that sequence of turn the bike on, connect everything while I'm putting my crash helmet on and faffing about, as we all seem to do when we're on bikes, that has served me very well and has worked. I've had a lot fewer problems than I had previously. So that's my sequence. Hope it was useful to you, and see you next time.